Hello everyone, Hive still here, and welcome to another tech tutorial. Today we're covering the basic mechanics of items, how to interact with them, and their various properties. If you play a character with an item, it's almost guaranteed to be central to your play, so you need to know all this stuff. If you don't, you still need to know how items work, so you don't get blindsided by them, and you can develop some counterplay. I'm going to break this down into two parts, so all the basic mechanics in this first video, and then in the next one we'll talk about advanced techniques. First of all, what do I mean exactly by items? Well, there's a lot of items in the game, but in legal tournament play there's only those that are enabled by character moves. Peach can pull out turnips that behave like items, Diddy's banana peel, Link's bomb. You can pick them up, move around, drop them, or throw them whenever you like, unlike projectiles that have limited flexibility. Some moves spawn items that might not always behave like items. For example, when Snake first pulls out a grenade, he can't turn around, he can move around but not normally, he can throw them in specific ways but not like an item. But when he throws them on the ground, or drops them, from that point on they behave like an item. On the contrary, when young Link pulls out a bomb, it immediately behaves like an item. Other moves can be misleading, like adult Link's arrows can become an item but only after it gets stuck on the ground, whereas Toon Link and young Link's arrows never become items. Gordos can be caught and rethrown by DDD, but it never really behaves like an item, other characters can't catch them. Here's a list, I think, of all the items you should come across in tournament play, stuff you can spawn, catch, and use like an item. Now once they are in an item state, each of these behave very similarly, so let's talk about what you can do with them. First, let's start with picking up and catching items. In general, there are three ways to pick up items. A moves, excluding smash attacks, so that means tilts, aerials, dash attacks, all of these can pick up items. Also, if you're on the ground and really close to an item and press A, you'll get a very quick item grab animation instead of a jab, but the range for that is quite small. You can use a grab button like Z in the air to straight up catch an item, we'll call that a Z catch. And finally, you can use air dodges to catch items. How close you have to be to an item to catch it depends on which method you're using. The pickup radius for an A button item grab without an attack or a Z catch is very small and character dependent. For example, I know Diddy's Z grab range is much more generous than young Link's, probably by design. Now if you press Z and the item is out of range, generally you'll get an air dodge and probably still catch the item because the air dodge grab range is quite a bit bigger. But if you play a character with a Zair, an aerial tether attack like Samus or young Link, then you're out of luck. Inputting Z outside the grab item range will not result in an air dodge, you'll get a Zair. So for those characters you have to input the air dodge the regular way. Catching an item with Z does have the advantage of being virtually lagless. Basically you press Z, then on the next frame you catch the item, and then one frame later you're free to act again. So it's very strong in that regards. Then when it comes to catching items with A button attack moves, we don't have specific item grab distance data, so there might be exceptions to this, but typically the bigger a move's hitbox, the bigger the catch range. So something like Lucina F tilt has bigger catch range than her down tilt. Or, you know, Lucina F tilt has bigger catch range than other characters F tilt like Mario or something. It's of course not exactly proportional to the hitbox, so like Sephiroth F tilt and Min Min arms can't grab items from the other side of the stage, but the rule of thumb is bigger hitboxes make it easier. How the character is moving during the startup of a move also likely has an impact on grab range, which brings me to this very important thing to understand. You generally catch an item during a move startup, though there are some exceptions we'll get to later. Different types of moves have different catch windows, so Z catches and A button catches are one frame, meaning you have to be in range immediately when you press that button. Then, tilt attacks can catch items during their first 3 startup frames. And then dash stack and aerials have a generous 5 frame window for catching items. I made a video explaining the details of this, so check it out if you're interested. Once a move is out, you can't catch the item anymore, but you can still clank with most items, except those that have the Transcendent property, which many projectiles like Wolf Blaster has, but the only item I'm aware of that has Transcendency is Diddy Kong's Banana Peel. Everything else you can clank with. A lot of different items have an effect when they clank with moves. Like Snake's grenades explode on contact with most hitboxes, but Link's bomb doesn't. Items have a kind of health, damage they can take before disappearing, or in the case of explosives, before exploding. Like Lucina Fair will make young Link's bomb explode, but not a hit or two of Mithra Nair. We saw Link's bomb has a lot of health, but fire damage actually makes it explode instantly, but only after it doesn't have a hitbox anymore, so when it's on the ground. Young Link's bomb only explodes on contact with the ground if it has decent velocity, but Toon Link's bomb pretty much always explodes, it requires very little velocity. Different items have slightly different healths and different properties, I'll leave that up to you to explore. Before we move on, let's talk about a few tricks for catching items. You can grab items on the ground with Z or aerial moves if you buffer them alongside jump on the ground near them. This will buffer a short hop though. I think most, if not all, characters can't grab items on the ground with a full hop aerial, even when it's perfectly inputted. You can also grab items on the ground with Z by landing on them and pressing Z right before landing, but the timing is pretty tight. A better way for characters that have aerials that auto-cancel during their startup is just to use that aerial right before landing. The grab range and timing is bound to be easier than with just Z. You can grab items from under platforms without having to go through the platform. Similarly, you can grab items near the ledge when you recover while getting back on the stage. You can wave dash to grab an item slightly in the air and quickly get back to the ground. Just jump and air dodge diagonally down. Okay, so you've caught or grabbed an item, now what can you do with it? Let's talk about throwing items first. If you do an A move with an item in hand, you'll get an item throw instead of that move. You can throw items in any direction, up, down, in front of you, or behind you, and the frame data on each tends to differ a little bit. Usually the down throw is fast, but maybe not the most useful unless you're in the air. Back throw has a little bit more startup and less end lag than forward throw. Item throwing bypasses shield drop frames, so they tend to be pretty decent out of shield, but not too crazy. Item throw data is character dependent, not item dependent. So for example, Diddy Banana Peel forward toss is frame 7, and Mega Man Saw Blade forward toss is frame 11. If Diddy throws out the Saw Blade, it comes out frame 7, and if Mega Man throws out the banana, it comes out frame 11. Z-drop, which we'll talk about in a second, is however a universal 1-frame input, meaning that Z-drop out of shield is frame 4, though some items are only active frame 5 like Young Link's bombs and other explosives. In any direction, you can throw items with a tilt input or a smash input. They come out at the same speed, but smash thrown items travel faster than tilt ones. Note that if you're on the ground and you use C-stick set to tilt stick, you'll get tilt throws, but when you're in the air, C-stick will always give you smash throws. You can still do tilt stick throws in the air, but you have to do those manually. Pressing Z on the ground will give you tilt input forward throw. Pressing Z in a direction in the air also gives you a throw in that direction. However, pressing Z in the air while your analog stick is in the neutral position gives you a Z drop. Z drops are extremely powerful because like Z catches, they have virtually no lag, which enables a lot of the tech we're going to talk about in the next video. Z drops drop the item below you, sometimes a little bit in front of the character, sometimes a little bit behind. It really depends on the character. The item starts with 0 speed and then falls slowly, unlike item down throw. This can be useful to cover space under you or at ledge a little bit longer, though sometimes the speed of down throw can be good too. As a final note, I want to point out that you can do a Z catch and then a Z drop, but you cannot do a Z drop and then a Z catch. You'll get an air dodge or a zair. You can still catch items with air dodges or aerials, but after Z dropping, you can't use Z catches anymore until you land. And that's it for this video on the basics of items. Stay tuned for the next video on advanced techniques. Until then, keep practicing and doing your best.